All right, welcome to our notes on applying the Pythagorean theorem. So this is our next chapter. You go ahead and practice saying that a few times. Pythagorean theorem. The Pythagorean theorem. It's a good thing we're not in the room when we're going over this chapter because as you say it, you kind of spit a little bit. Pythagorean theorem. So if we go to our next slide, you have a little joke for you. I know y'all miss my corny jokes. Why is the obtuse triangle always upset? Because it is never right. Look at that. Because it's never right. I know that's funny. So, a right triangle is a triangle with a right angle. So that's what that little box is for. That little symbol is to tell you it's a right triangle. A right angle has a measure of 90 degrees and is indicated by a square drawn at the corner formed by the angle. A leg of a right triangle is either of the two shorter sides. So basically, here's what we're going to be dealing with in these problems. We've got a right triangle. All the problems we get are going to be right triangles. What I want you to do right now is pause the video, go and make sure you have a piece of paper, make sure you have something to write with, label it Pythagorean theorem notes. I'll go back real quick so you can pause it here and write that down. I should have told you that to begin with, but making the video, we're going with it. So write down your title, Pythagorean theorem, and then draw this picture, and you're going to label it. The two shorter sides are always called the legs. So the two shorter sides of your triangle are the legs. The longest side is always the side across from the right angle. So if you find the right angle, go across. That's the longest side. The longest side is called the hypotenuse. It's the hypotenuse. And easiest way to remember how to spell that, hypo, the number 10, and the word use. Hypotenuse, hypotenuse. So right now, you should make sure you have that wrote down. You have that drawn, two legs, and the longest side is the hypotenuse. So pause the video if you need to and write that down, and then we'll move on. So let's say for each of these, if you had a triangle and that triangle had sides of 5 inches, 12 inches, and 13 inches, which two would be the legs, which one would be the hypotenuse? Because when you go to do these problems, if you can't find the hypotenuse, you can't find the longest side to see which one's missing, you're going to have a problem. So if I have a triangle with sides of 5, 12, and 13, the hypotenuse would be what? It would be 13. It's the longest side. So what about if you looked at, let's go and look at D. If you have a triangle that has sides of 75, 21, and 72, which one would be the hypotenuse? Think about it. It would have to be 75. If I have a right triangle, and we're using this one, I've got sides of 15, 39, and 36. Which one would be the hypotenuse? Look at it and think about it. Which one would be the legs? So your hypotenuse, your longest side, would have to be 39. It's your biggest number, so that would have to go on the hypotenuse. Now, the good thing with the legs, it doesn't matter which one's which. You could make this 15 and make this 36, or you could do it the other way. It does not matter as long as the longest side is the 39. Now, your right triangles are not always going to face the same direction. So if we look, we have a triangle, that's the right angle. So there's your right triangle. If we were doing F, which one would be the hypotenuse? The hypotenuse would have to be 25. It's the biggest number, so you would know that's 25. And the other two would be your legs, and it doesn't matter which one's which. You can make that 7 and that one 24. So the main thing is your biggest number is always the hypotenuse. That's your biggest number, and that's going to be important when we get our formula. All right, so if we look, here is our formula that we're going to use. So let me unlock, delete this for us, unlock, move that down here. I have to teach it a little differently since we're doing a video instead of what I would normally say and normally do for this slide in person. I've got to change it around. All right, so if we're looking, so here's our right triangle. The way we're always going to label it is with A, B, and C, where C is always the hypotenuse. So when you get your triangle, first thing you're going to do is always label your A side, your B side, and your C side. Your C is the hypotenuse. It's always the longest side. Your legs are your A and your B, and it doesn't matter. You could make this side B and this side A. They're interchangeable. It could be either one. The main thing is just that the biggest side is C. And the way you solve it is you use the Pythagorean theorem. You use this formula right here. So whatever A equals, so if A was 3, you would do 3 squared, because it's A squared your formula, so 3 squared plus whatever B is. If B was 4, you'd say plus 4 squared equals, and then whatever C is, let's say C was 5, then you'd have 5 squared. And if this is a right triangle, then when you solve this, it should come out to getting the same thing on both sides. All right, so 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9, plus 4 squared, 4 times 4 is 16, equals 5 squared, 5 times 5 is 25, 9 plus 16 is 25, so since we got the same thing on both sides, that proves that this is a right triangle. If you have sides of 3, 4, and 5, it would work. So the way this is going to work, today we're only going to work on, well, what do you do if the hypotenuse is missing? What if the biggest side is missing and all I have is the 2 shorter sides? You use this formula to figure out the missing side. So we're going to go through some word problems together, because for Pythagorean theorem, most of the problems you get are going to be word problems. And out of all the topics I teach in 8th grade, which one do I use the most in the real world? Not at work, but in my own real world in my life? Pythagorean theorem. Use this more than anything else that I teach in 8th grade. So if we take a look, we have Mitch maintains the Magnolia Middle School campus. You're going to use the Pythagorean theorem to help Mitch with some of his jobs. So Mitch needs to wash the windows on the 2nd floor of a building. He knows the windows are 12 feet above the ground. So if you go to draw your triangle, you know that your triangle is going to go up 12 because it's 12 feet above the ground. Because of the dense shrubbery, he has to put the base of the ladder 5 feet from the building. So the bottom of the ladder, so if he's got a ladder leaning against the building, the bottom of the ladder is 5 feet away from the building. So what ladder length does he need? So that's what's missing. So our C is missing. We don't know what the C is. So what I need you to do, for each time you do one of these problems, you want to draw the picture. So I want you to draw the triangle, label it 12, 5, and then C. And then here's what you do when you come to these problems. The first thing you're going to do is, well, we labeled C. We need to pick which one of these should be A and B. It does not matter. You could say that, all right, 5 is A and 12 is B. Or you could do it the other way and make 5 your B and 12 your A. It does not matter. All that matters is that you put it into the formula correctly. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So what did we pick for A? We picked 5. So we would put 5 in for A. So A squared plus, what did we pick for B? For B, we picked 12. So 12 squared equals, and do we know what our C is? No, we have no idea what C is. That's what we're trying to figure out, so we leave that blank. All right, so then you go ahead and solve what you had, and this is where this is definitely a topic that you're going to use a calculator for. So if you have your own calculator or a calculator on your phone, or you can use Desmos, or you can use whatever calculator you want, but you'll need a calculator. So A squared We put 5 in, we have 5 squared, so 5 times 5 is, we have 25 plus 12 squared. 12 times 12 is 144, and then equals c squared. You're definitely going to want to write down all of your work and show your work so that you don't get anything mixed up or leave anything out. Now, we have 25 plus 144, so then you would do that, add those together, and you get 169 equals c squared. Now, here's where a lot of students make a mistake. They get this answer and they stop. Well, think about it. If I said the window was 12 feet off the ground and you were like, okay, Mitch is going to go grab a ladder that's 169 feet tall. Does that make sense? That's going to be way too big. How's he even going to store that thing? You got a shed behind the school to put that in? No, it's 169 feet long. No way that's going to work. So the last thing is this is c squared. We can't have that. We've got to get rid of the squared. It needs to be just c. So in order to get rid of c to the second power, you do the opposite of it. And the opposite of squaring something is to do the what? What do you think? I'm wondering if any of y'all are going to guess this. It would be to do the square root. So you would take the square root of both sides. So the square root of c squared is just c because they cancel out. And then over here you got to do the square root of 169. So this is where you need to get a calculator. You can use Desmos, something that has square root on it. So you're able to type that in and figure out that the square root of 169 is 13. So your answer, what length ladder does he need? He needs a 13-foot ladder to reach exactly to the window. Write this down. Here's your example. You have your triangle. You should write down all of this so you've got the example to look at, and you're going to do all these problems the same way. Draw the triangle, label your A, B, and C, and then find the one that's missing. And all we're going to work on for today, and I believe all we're going to work on for these notes and then for the next couple of days of work is just finding the hypotenuse only right now. So we're not going to be finding any legs, just the hypotenuse. So let's look at another one. The gym teacher, Miss Fisher, asked Mitch to put up a badminton net. Miss Fisher said the top of the net must reach 5 feet above the ground. So you look here and you see on your triangle, all right, we got one side and it's 5. She knows that Mitch will need to put stakes into ground for rope supports. She asked him to put the stakes 6 feet away, so you know that's 6. So then we're not going to worry about exactly the other parts of this question because I don't want to make this video too long. So now we're just going to find, okay, how long would this string have to be right there to tie the top of the net to that stake that's sticking in the ground? So you've got a side of 5, side of 6, find the hypotenuse, find the missing side, find your C. So while I'm labeling this, you write this down, write your problem down, look at it so you've got it for your notes. And then we're going to figure out, okay, what are we going to use? We know C, so we got to figure out what do we want to use for A and B. So we can make 6 are A and 5 are B, or you can do it the other way, it doesn't matter. And what I want you to do is pause the video, put 6 in for A, put 5 in for B, solve it and see what you get. And then unpause the video and I'll finish going over it and see if you were doing it right. Because we're only going to do a few of these and then that's going to be it. So I don't want this to be a super long video. So let's take a look. Hopefully you've got it finished by now. If you don't, go ahead and pause it and do it. But if you are finished, here we go. We put 6 in for A. So we've got 6 squared plus we put 5 in for B, 5 squared equals C squared. See, that's the magic of this video. I don't have to walk around and wait for everybody to get finished. You should have paused it, boom, instantly. Everybody should be done. And now you can go through and check your work. So 6 times 6 for 6 squared is 36 plus 5 squared. 5 times 5 is 25 equals C squared. So then you should have added 36 plus 25, which would give you 61 equals c squared. Take the square root of both sides because it wouldn't make sense that the badminton that's 5 feet tall, the stake in the ground 6 feet away, and you need a rope that's 61 feet long. That should be your hint that you're not done. All right, so square root of 61. Most of the time on these, you will not get nice, perfect answers. Most of the time, you will get decimals, and you can just round to the nearest tenth if it's on a worksheet. But if it's on IXL, you need to make sure you read the question to see what it's asking you to round to, because if you round incorrectly, they'll count it wrong. So for this, when you do square root of 61, you should have got 7.8102, blah, 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 blah. So if you round to the nearest tenth, 7.8. 7.8. So hopefully everybody got 7.8. All right. Let's go ahead and erase this. If you need to go back and look at it, you can to see what you did wrong. If you missed it, if you got it right, awesome. Good job. All right, so now we have one word problem, no picture. You'll get a lot of these too. So you have to figure out and make sure you make the triangle correctly. So let's draw it as I read it. A flagpole broke in a storm. 7 meters are sticking straight out of the ground. So I've got sticking straight up out of the ground, 7 meters where it snapped. But the remaining piece has hinged over and touches the ground. So if the flagpole went all the way up to here before it snapped, it fell over. So now your flagpole is broken and leaning over to hit the ground. Touches the ground at a point 24 meters away horizontally. So which line's horizontal? Would this one be 24? Or would the bottom be 24? So since it's horizontal, the bottom would be 24. And then your missing side is your longest side because there's your right angle. So you're finding your C. All right, so we need to find our C. Now, this one has a little extra part to it because it says how tall is the flagpole before it broke. So you got to do an extra step beforehand or when you're done. But we're going to ignore that right now. All I want to know is what's this missing side? So we need to pick our A and our B. Doesn't matter which one's which. Let's just say we'll use 7 for A and we'll use 24 for our B. So you've got your formula. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So go ahead, pause the video, give this one a try and see what you come up with. All right, if you've already tried it now, put in your numbers. 7 squared plus 24 squared equals C squared. And I guarantee you, those of you that are pausing the video and working on them first, and then watching to see if you got it right, you are going to do better on this topic. You're going to get through your assignments easier. You're going to better score on the quizzes, better score on the test than the people that are watching the video and just letting it play and not trying the problems on their own. They're going to have some trouble when they get to the assignments. And then the few of you who I've emailed, and I'm going to need to call and probably talk to you to make sure you're watching the videos and getting your work done. So if we look, 7 times 7 is 49. So far I've been able to do all in my head, but I don't know what 24 squared is just off the top of my head. So 24 squared is 576 equals C squared. So then 576 plus 49 gives us 625 equals C squared. So then we need to do the square root, both sides. So C is equal to, and then in your calculator, the square root of 625. What times what is 625? 25. So what's this broken piece of the flagpole? It's 25. So the missing side's 25. Then if you wanted to answer this question, how tall was the flagpole before it broke? Well, if 7 feet is sticking out of the ground and 25 feet broke and fell over, then you would just add 25 and 7 to answer this. But just for right now, all I'm really worried about is can you find the missing side? And the missing side would be 25. All right, good. Good, good, good. Let's see what we've got. 1, 2, 3. All right, we have 3 more that I'm going to go over with you. So if you feel like, okay, I still need to keep watching, I'm still trying to get it, watch the rest of the video. We'll go through 3 more problems together, finding the hypotenuse. If you feel like you've got it, you're good. You can stop the video. You can go and work on your assignments. If you need to come back and watch the end of it, that's fine. Your choice. It's up to you. But those that do want some extra help, let's look at it. Mitch stopped by the baseball field to watch the team practice. The first baseman caught a line drive right on the base. So hit the ball. Let me make this bigger. All right. Hit the ball straight to the first baseman. He caught it. He touched the first base for 1 out, then threw the ball to third base to get another out. So he threw it all the way over to third base to get another out. At third base, how far did he throw the ball? So there is your triangle. There is your right angle. So you know across from your right angle is your C. So I need to figure out how far did he throw it from first to third. What is this missing side of the triangle? And then we can label these our A and our B. And for this one, you have one where the A and the B are the exact same number. All right. And in case you're wondering, yep, for actual baseball fields, that is the distance, 90 feet. 90 feet, 90 feet, 90 feet, 90 feet. So how far is it directly across the field? 90 feet? I always have some students that say, yeah, 90 feet. No, it's not going to be 90 feet. Let's find out. So A squared plus B squared. You notice I'm writing the formula every time. When you first start doing these, it helps to write it every time just to get used to doing it. So you memorize the formula. So we have 90 squared plus 90 squared. Oh, this writing is getting ugly. Equals C squared. So then you would do, okay, what is 90 squared? 90 times 90 is 8,100 plus 8,100 equals C squared. So go ahead and pause the video and finish that and see what you come up with for your answer. All right, so if you've paused the video, which hopefully you did, then you add these two together, you get 16,200 equals C squared, square root both sides, and the square root of 16,200 is 127.27. So the 7 would make the 2 round to a 3. So how far is it across the field at a Major League Baseball stadium? 127.3 feet if you go straight from first base right over the third base. All right. Now on this next one, I'm not going to write anything down. I'm just going to pull up the problem, read it to you, and then you're going to pause the video and do this one on your own. Make sure you know what you're doing. So the skate ramp on the playground of a neighboring park is going to be replaced. Mitch needs to determine how long the ramp is to get an estimate of the cost of the new skate ramp. Now I can't read. He knows the measurements shown in the figure. How long is the existing skate ramp? So he knows that this is 8 feet, this is 15 feet. How long does this need to be? So pause the video and see what you come up with. All right, should have paused the video, should have your answer by now. So let's label everything. First thing you should have done, draw the triangle, label everything. So that's C. Doesn't matter which one of these is A or B. I'm going to use 8 as A and 15 as B, but you could have done it the other way and you still would get the same answer. So 8 squared plus 15 squared equals C squared. You might, on your paper, you might have 15 squared plus 8 squared equals C squared if you had A and B switched. Either way, like I said, it doesn't matter. You should get the same answer. So 8 squared is 64. Plus 15 squared is 225 equals C squared. And then 64 plus 225 is 289 equals c squared. And then square root both sides. And then the square root of 289. How long is that skate ramp? It is 17 feet long. So c equals 17. So c equals 17, and would that make sense? Let's see, would it still be the longest side? That's 8, that's 15. Yep, 17 makes it the longest side. Also, those numbers in your head, they make sense. You could see this being 8, 15, and 17. If you would have left it as 289, all right, 8 foot long, 15 feet long, and then you're telling me 289 feet? If you get something like that, you know you got a problem. So your common sense should jump in on a few of these to tell you, wait a minute, I need to finish and get to the end of the problem. All right, our last one, a wheelchair ramp that is constructed to rise 1 foot off the ground must extend 12 feet along the ground. How long will the wheelchair ramp be? So what is our missing side? What will our C be? So go ahead and try this one. It's our last one. See what you come up with. All right, so you should have paused the video, done that problem, and then you should have got, let's see, I'm going to label 1 as my A, 12 as my B. Remember, it doesn't matter which one's which. So A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So 1 squared plus 12 squared equals C squared. 1 times 1 is 1, plus 12 times 12 is 144, equals C squared. And remember, with this writing, I'm writing with the mouse, so you got to cut me some slack. Give me a break on some of this. So 1 plus 144 gives you 145 equals C squared. Square root both sides, because definitely wouldn't make sense to say it's a 1 foot tall ramp. It's going to go 12 feet across the ground. So how long does the ramp need to be? 145 feet? No, that's a big problem. So you got to remember, square root both sides. Square root of 145 gives you a decimal 12.04. So when you round that, the 4 tells the 0 to stay the same. So you would just have 12.0, which you would just leave as 12. So if you have any questions, send me an email, let me know. We're going to be doing our Google Meets every day now, Monday through Friday from 9 to 9:15 in the morning. So if you have a question, get on there, let me know, and we'll work together to get it figured out. If for some reason you're not able to get on there from 9 to 9:15, let me know, and we'll schedule one so that we can work together. All right? If you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you for watching.